a new character at Toothsome, Halloween Horror Days, and Chris is going to talk some crepes. You are listening to episode 421 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. It is Lee. I am here for another one. I'm excited to talk about Universal Orlando because there is a lot going on. And joining me to discuss all this a lot going on is Tracy.
Hello.
And Chris.
You know I'm always talking crap, so.
I've said when the parks closed and then even when they reopened that I was worrying about what we were going to talk about on the news shows, and yet we have not struggled in the slightest. And this week has got to that point where there is something I was going to put in the news that I'm leaving for 2 weeks' time because there's that much to get to.
Kind of crazy.
So, Chris, why don't you tell us about the awesome new character meet at Toothsome Chocolate Emporium?
Yeah, so Skynet just opened up. And, so Latte, the steampunk-inspired mechanical dog, is the latest invention of the restaurant's founder, Penelope, love her, and her trusty companion, Jacques. So the pair utilized their store of leftover cogs, wheels, and kitchen utensils to bring Latte to life in the form of woman's best friend.
Okay. I see Tracy's face.
So, Universal City Walk visitors can watch as Penelope and Jacques teach Latte new tricks during an improv-style character appearance that includes guest interactions and fun moments the entire family can enjoy from now through the end of September. Latte, a dynamic spot robot, will join Penelope and Jacques for the first-of-its-kind interactive character appearance utilizing the innovative spot robot technology developed by Boston Dynamics.
You were going to say Skynet again there, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, that's their new working name in 2020.
Yeah.
So. The experience takes place intermittently between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. daily. And to celebrate Latte's debut, guests can enjoy a unique toothsome milkshake inspired by her called Latte's Latte. That's awesome. The milkshake is made with coffee ice cream and espresso, then topped with fresh whipped cream, dark chocolate, biscotti, and chocolate-covered espresso beans.
Ooh.
So all you coffee lovers, run out there.
That would be worth the stomachache.
I need to get a milkshake from there at some point, right?
Wow.
I know how much those things cost. Jesus. Like we're talking military.
You're talking about the latte? Or
yeah, not the milkshake.
I was confused there. Like, what?
They're both kind of pricey, but different level.
If you haven't seen it, if you go to our Instagram page, that I did post like a minute-long video that someone shared with us the other day. It's pretty cool. And I will be surprised if it doesn't go beyond the end of September. Because as I say, they've got to have dropped a pretty penny. And it's not like they can, I don't know, I suppose they could strip it down and build a Terminator out of it.
Unless it's a loan.
The current listing for one is only it's not 75,000, it's 74,500.
I better change
It's not actually as much as I thought it was.
Still a little pricey. It's going to take some milkshakes to recover that cost.
But the thing is, it's very definitely Toothsome Chocolate Emporium inspired.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It makes you laugh, too. I don't know why I was just laughing.
I think it's the springtail.
It's the tail and his face. Yeah, that's what it is.
I love that even like during these times where, you know, the parks they're not what for the most part, they're not what they normally are. That Universal are still doing things to give the people that are going something different.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, and it's this kind of came under the radar a little bit. They haven't really done a big, hey, this is what we're, and it's like, really?
They never do.
It's weird. What you mean about that churro stand?
Yeah.
Churro Park. Yeah.
Just bizarre. But yeah, I think it's cool. Like you say, when we went, our experience at Toothsome in February wasn't amazing, but the highlight was definitely Penelope, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Penelope's awesome.
Great.
She was absolutely brilliant. And if they can add to that, then
I want to be Penelope when I grow up.
It would be a pretty cool job, owning your own chocolate emporium and Savoury Feast kitchen.
Yep.
My darling
Who knows if
chocolate.
this is like things to come. Now they're gonna like replace Jacques with one of the Boston Dynamic
that would be
full-size
creepy.
robots. That would be creepy.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because you look like Universal do tend to, like if you look over the last 10 years, they definitely innovate. They definitely do things that no other theme parks aren't doing. And this is definitely something, like utilising something you've never seen anywhere else in this sort of environment.
Yeah. I think this is the first time they've used this like commercially like this.
I'm kind of having flash forwards, I feel like, to the full-size, more humanoid-shaped ones.
Yeah.
Being the future wait staff.
And that will be awesome.
That'd be so freaking scary.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Oh, can you imagine though? Just turn around and there's one behind you. Oh, Jesus. Spill me milkshake.
It would be pretty cool. Wow. Anyway, another brief one. Right, look, let's get to the main event because everything that's going on, the rumours have been around for a while. But Tracy, Halloween has finally come to Universal Orlando.
It has. Kinda. A little way. Halloween light. Last week, Universal Orlando announced that it's time to start screaming with fiendish delight because you can still get your fright fix this weekend, and it's included with your daytime admission to Universal Studios Florida and Universal's Islands of Adventure. There are 2 heart-pounding haunted houses in Universal Studios, Revenge of the Tooth Fairy and Universal Monsters The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, so you can get your scream on. You can take your kids trick-or-treating in Islands of Adventure. Awesome. Plus, you can all dress in costumes throughout the resort to get in the sinister spirit of the season.
Okay,
I love that.
Yes. Well, we'll break it down a little bit. So obviously, first off, they said scream all day at these haunted houses. So the haunted houses will scare the daylights out of you all weekend long.
The daylights out of you.
Yes, because it is. I love that it's kind of like you said, Halloween Horror Nights light.
Yeah.
The other term is Halloween Horror Days, I like.
Yeah.
So yeah, all weekend long with frights brought to life through twisted artistry. Chris, let's give people a little bit more information about one of the haunted houses.
Yeah, so the first one, Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. We belong dead. The last words of Frankenstein's monster on the fateful night when his bride rejected him. But his end was her beginning. Now the bride is stepping out of the shadows to bring him back. And there's nothing she won't do as she sharpens her brilliance by experimenting on unsuspecting victims. The mate will have her monster, and the monster his mate.
And this is where Ghostbusters was last year?
Looks like it.
Yeah. That initial hard left.
Yeah, I know when we talked about the last spec map with Michelle Tracy, we were kind of surprised that they put this front and centre.
Yeah.
Like this is always like the one that they want everyone to go to. And I find it strange because I wasn't the biggest fan of the Monsters house last year.
Yeah.
It was beautiful though. The sets were.
Apparently this one is just as... Yeah.
This is the romance house. Think about it.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah. First date.
Yeah.
And then Tracy, the second one?
We have Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. The innocent traditions of the Tooth Fairy hide a darker ritual. All children must give up their baby teeth to the goblin-esque tooth fairies or pay a gruesome price. Step into an old manor that has been overrun by yellow-clawed fiends who extract teeth by force. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The virtual line experience is available for the haunted houses, and when you're on property, use the official Universal Orlando Resort app to select a return time for your group.
If you can get one.
Yeah, if you can get one. You need to be there, about 6 o'clock in the morning?
Right. So Friday was team members and Premier Pass holders.
Yeah.
Saturday was all guests. Sunday was all guests. We know Chris Azell, a good friend of ours, got onto property on Saturday morning at 9:09.
Yeah.
And it was already at capacity.
Yeah. But they're not releasing all of them.
Oh, is that right?
They're staggered throughout the day. So
that's good.
So yeah, you need to keep trying throughout the day because they are releasing them in batches.
I know, because this is a test. I know, Chris, you were saying before we started recording that we didn't know whether this was going to continue or not.
Yeah.
I know they were inviting people to take surveys afterwards, obviously to gauge people's reactions and stuff, because they are very COVID compliant from what I've heard. We're going to get to a review in a second. Actually, we'll get to that and then we'll come back and we can discuss it a bit more. So Kenneth sent us in a review. So it's over to Kenneth.
Hello, UUOP. This is Kenneth. I just got in my car leaving Universal Studios on Friday, September 18th for the first day of the Halloween seasonal experience testing. And I gotta say, I'm very happy with what they've got. So first, I would say is the Skeleton Bar. That is a new limited time offering in Cafe La Bamba. They call it a walkthrough experience. I think that's a little generous. If you're not there for the drinks, there's not really that much to see in there. They've also got food. I didn't look at that food because I had already eaten because I didn't know that this existed until I walked into it. But they've got special food offerings in Cafe La Bamba. They've got like shrimp skewers and a few other things. And it's pretty cool. Like, I think it's a good additional thing. The theming is really nice. They've got specialty drinks. And at first I thought, like, if you watch the vlog that I shot today while at the park enjoying all of these things, it looks like they are your standard Blinky Cup souvenir, you know, Halloween Horror Nights specialty drinks. But they're actually not. I got one called Mango Inferno. I don't remember everything it had in it, but it did have obviously mango flavoring or mango juice or something like that. And then it also had jalapenos in it. Like, it had a slice of jalapeno floating in it, and it was kind of spicy. But this was the first time that I had one of those, like, you know, $13 cocktails that I was like, you know what? This was worth it because this is something I've never had before, really unique, and the theming of the location was pretty cool. Second, something else I didn't know was going to be happening until I saw it is the Scarecrow stock. So if you remember during the holiday season last year, there was like a Christmas tree hunt where you could walk around both parks and City Walk, and they would have themed Christmas trees in a bunch of the stores. And if you went to all of the locations and got a stamp for visiting every tree, you got a little special treat. So it's just like that Christmas tree hunt. They've got scarecrows in a bunch of the stores. I think there's 13 stores. Hey, how appropriate. I just realized that. And they're really, really fun. They're themed to the location. And then if you finish all of them and you get every stamp, you get a little bag of candy. It feels like trick-or-treating, and it was fun. But now, to the main event. 2 haunted houses, open, 2-day guests. Obviously, today was the first day. Today's Haunted House walkthroughs were reserved for team members and premier annual pass holders. So the first one that I did, we went through Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. So Revenge of the Tooth Fairy is located in the soundstage where last year they had Us, where you walk down that long black curtain hallway. And it has a very Scary Tales feeling to it. It feels like an unofficial page out of Scary Tales, even down to like, you know, there's like a book cover at the entrance of the house. So like, it looks like you're going into a fairy tale. So the thing is, usually for me going through a haunted house, the first time I go through, I have very little sense of what it was, because you're so on edge waiting for those scares to come and you don't know where they're going to come from. I don't get a good sense of what the story was or how it was being told. But Tooth Fairy is very cool. I think it was gory, but I honestly couldn't tell you. I could tell you very little about Tooth Fairy after one walkthrough, but it was scary. I got some good scares. I got probably like 2 or 3 really good scares. A lot of very tiny scare actors in there, very short people who are dressed as, I guess, like little kids who became evil tooth fairies. And the facade is very cool. I don't know if there's going to be any like walkthrough videos, if they're going to let any media go through and like record the houses. If there are, I'll just go ahead and, you know, say that like the very entrance of the house is like a pop-up book that you're walking into, and like it's really cool. Very, very cool looking entrance. I was like impressed immediately. And then the house was just very, very cool, very intense and like close quarters. Also, on the topic of close quarters, the COVID safety measures, walking through the house, all of the characters are behind a piece of plexiglass, which does not hurt the scare in terms of like, it doesn't feel like they're too far away from you. Like, they're still pretty close. But there is a barrier between you and the scare actors, and the only downside I would say is that like you can see where a scare is supposed to be or where a scare is going to come from. The first time walking through the house, you're like, oh, there's going to be a scare there. And then if there isn't, you're like, oh, somebody's missing from that spot, which is not something that you would normally notice. That's, I guess, the one downside. But the scares themselves, I don't think are really that hurt by the plexiglass. And it just helps you know that you're comfortable, the scare actors are comfortable, nobody's gonna hit them, which must be a dream come true as a scare actor, to have that protection from unruly guests, which, you know, are the number one problem of being a Halloween Horror Nights scare actor. Moving on
And a
over
visitor.
to Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. This house, of the two, is my number one. Like this house was fantastic. But that house, I definitely got a better sense of what the story was going through and like how the scenes were unfolding. This house was fantastic. I loved every single thing about it. The scares were really good. It was so cool to see the Bride of Frankenstein taking a lead role. There's other monsters in there too. This is not just the bride's story. Like, there's, you know, other brides of Dracula. That you can see the creature from the Black Lagoon is in there. I believe the Invisible Man is in there. Like, other monsters are there. I don't think it was nearly as scary as Tooth Fairy, but I enjoyed it more based on just like the characters and the story being told. And I mean, really good scares too. There were moments where like there were scares coming from every angle, and like, you know, that plexiglass does not get in the way of those scares. So like, I was very happy with both of the houses. If this continues and you have the chance to come, I think that this is great. I can't wait to go back and see them again and have better formed opinions about these houses after I can go through them without the anticipation of the scares, and I can just go through and enjoy and absorb and take in the scenery and the designs and the storytelling, and then like kind of let the scares just wash over me while I kind of read the story. So I'm happy. I had a great day at the first ever Halloween Horror Days, and we'll call it there. Hey guys, check out the vlogs on YouTube, and I'll hopefully be, you know, getting those out to you on a somewhat regular basis. I'm having a lot of fun doing them, and I hope you're enjoying watching them. And yeah, thanks for having me on, and back to Lee and Tracy and Chris. There you go.
Thanks, buddy.
I will plug his vlog for us. It's one. I know someone commented on it as well, that he's like, he tries out some of the food, and they've got. I think he had the that Beetlejuice.
Oh, the pretzel dog
thing, and he said, "I think if you like hot dogs, you'll like this because it's a hot dog." The one thing he didn't mention in there about like the COVID thing is obviously the pulsing people through, which is why the capacity is so low. But they're giving the person at the front of each group a tiny little glow stick.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming so that ops people can see who's...
See the group that's going through.
Yeah, so they can keep people apart, because you know, you haven't got one, so you're the back of that group. You've got one, you must be the front of the next group. Chris, as we said earlier, we are hearing this is a test. If it is a test and they roll this out further, will you and Alexa be attending?
I mean, yeah, based off of everything I'm hearing, yeah, we would check it out. I mean, it's definitely different from a normal Horror Nights house. Plexiglass is kind of a weird thing to have in there, but like I think we talked about this before offline, where, you know, Universal, in my opinion, so far has been doing a really good job at cleanliness and keeping people safe, just in general at the park. So if they're keeping that same vibe and attitude towards this, then yeah, I wouldn't see an issue with going in there and doing this. So yeah, we would go.
I have thoughts. I'm going to keep them to myself.
Oof, that's a first.
The one thing I do worry about, even beyond this initial one, because the rumours are that they're going to open other houses, not just these two. And I can't see them spending the time and effort and money they have to build the houses that they built that would have been for Halloween Horror Nights this year and not roll them out again next year. So my issue is how much it's going to impact next year. It's not for me.
Do you think they'll re-release the houses next year?
I can't see them, like, for how good the reception for Bride of Frankenstein's been, not pulling it down and doing something new for next year. I think all the rumours seem to point that most of the houses that are there this year will be there again next year.
Kind of on the opposite side of that.
You think so?
I don't think they would do that. I mean, they could, right? Because it's that lovely event over in Busch Gardens, Hollowscream. They reuse houses all the time.
They do, but Horror Nights prides themselves in they've only ever done the same house twice once.
Different years.
Yes.
But like separated by years as well.
Yeah, and this would be the same.
No. Like not back to back. This would be back to back.
Yeah,
right?
fair enough.
I'm talking about like, oh, we did it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 3 years. That I could see happening. I personally, like you just said, they're like the premier Horror Nights or Halloween event. I don't see them reusing a house. You're going to have a lot of like people going, oh, it's such a cheap thing to do. We saw it last year. We're paying for something that we already saw.
But then the issue is, Chris, if, financially they've got to be hurting at the moment, they might not have the money to rip them down and put new ones in. That you're not going to get, like, yes, you're going to get the local hardcore Horror Nights crowd are going to get to see these, but then the rest of the country, the rest of the world that would travel over for them aren't going to see them. I don't know. It's
tricky because it's also a year away.
Yes.
So many things can change between now and then. But me, if we're just taking bets right now, I would say they would not reuse these. But then again, I never thought they would open up a house last minute like this. So I was wrong. Don't side with me because I've been wrong so far. So
it will be interesting to see whether they open any of the IP houses.
Yeah.
Or the anniversary house or the Icons house. I will be. Yeah. Let's just leave that little space blank right there, because if the Icon house or the anniversary house, the Scary Ohio, whatever it is, I will not be amused. Because they're the two I'm looking forward to more than anything else. Yeah, I'm not going to say too much because I'm a little annoyed, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm a little bit bothered by it as well. Just
like, I get it.
We got this far and we already knew like the event was over, like it's not going to happen. Just take it and that's it. And then to like last minute put this up there. That's just my negative side saying that, because I just want the actual event, right? I want actual houses the way they should be. But I mean, yeah, I get it. They released this so that they can have people, enjoying some more Halloween.
It's a gesture, isn't it?
Yeah. What's interesting to me, and I was asking this before, is whether, they keep this up. And if they do, are they going to charge for this?
Well, that was the original rumor, wasn't it? I heard a rumor that they were going to charge, I don't know how true that was.
25 or $30, right?
No one's going to pay that.
No.
Well, actually, I think you probably find the hardcore Horror Nights fans probably would. And to be honest, if I was there, I probably would as well.
Yeah, it's weird. When we're over here, you won't spend a penny. Over there,
yeah, but it's
only money.
Yeah, I'd say it's...
So it's a once in a lifetime, was it? How many once in a lifetime holidays have we had so far?
7.
All to the same place. 7 in a lifetime.
It's an eighth in a lifetime?
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Like, we're going to get into it a little bit more. I love the extra stuff that they're doing. They're kind of doing that Mickey's Not So Scary kind of thing throughout the parks. And that's kind of what I expected them to do. Maybe decorate the parks and do the other little bits. Like the skeleton bar's pretty cool.
Yes.
The food trucks look awesome.
Yeah.
That Franken-Curls, the hot dog with the twisted tater around it is that better be there next year. I need one of those. But I couldn't see them doing houses, but obviously I was wrong, and it's they've justified doing it because they've been at capacity all weekend. But while we're on about the other stuff, Tracy, do you want to talk about what they've told us about the costumes thing?
Well, this excites me because I love dressing up. So this is costumes optional, but totally encouraged. Get in the sinister spirit of the season by dressing up when you visit Universal Studios Florida and Islands of Adventure this weekend. Go creepy, classic, or as your favourite character.
Obviously, that was last weekend, and whether they end up doing it again, I can't see them not doing that every weekend.
That would be so cool. I would love that.
Because that costs them nothing, and people are more likely to take the kids if they can dress up and stuff, so I could see them rolling that out if they don't do the houses. Chris?
Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
a 12-year-old? Do you have a 12-year-old you can take for this one?
Inside of my brain, I do. Mentally, that's where I'm at. But
Ooh, you're that old.
yeah, I'm being a little generous, I guess.
Tell us about trick-or-treating.
Yes. Grab a free trick-or-treat bag for your little one or yourself, and go door-to-door collecting tasty treats from participating retail stores this weekend or last weekend.
Yeah.
But first, you've got to find them. So keep a lookout for pumpkin stickers marking each location.
Awesome.
This experience is, like Lee said, for guests 12 years of age and younger who must be with an adult to participate. Ooh.
I am surprised it took them this long to do something like this over at Islands of Adventure. During Halloween Horror Nights, I'm surprised they've never done, not necessarily an event, but something much more family-friendly over at Islands.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, I can't. I think like me and Tracy talked about it a little bit, Chris, and I actually want to do an episode on it at some point to look at all the things that have been implemented at the parks due to COVID-19 and kind of go through the things that we would like to see stay. Because there are things I think that have been put in place that, like, I wouldn't mind seeing that be implemented full time, and this is one of them. Not full time, obviously, because you can't trick or treat year round, but.
Definitely. No, that would be a really cool experience. And I think if done correctly, imagine, how many families would extend their vacation even further during a Horror Night season.
Yeah.
Extend it out an extra day or two because I got to get my Horror Nights on over here. But we're also going to do the kid stuff, this time on this date. We'll leave the kids with grandma on this other day here, but then we're going to go here. So.
And that's, exactly. Like because when we're coming over next year, fingers crossed, is half term. So a lot of families will come over to Orlando during that time. And obviously Horror Nights is going on. So it'll potentially put a lot of families with younger kids off going because they're like, well, the park shuts at 5. We're not going to get. So give them another reason to go into Islands of Adventure. I think this will end up being pushed out regularly.
I think it should be.
I do.
And they should actually do a ticketed adult version. And it's all miniatures of alcohol.
Yeah. I can see you and Chris tagging into that. You, Chris, and Alexa.
Oh, you collect your stickers and you go to Finnegan's to redeem it.
And there's me.
We got this.
Yeah. The adult scarecrow stalk. Yeah. You get a little bag of shots at the end of it.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't actually spoke to anybody in the sort of community at this point to know how last minute. They've obviously known they were going to do it for long enough because they've gone in and installed things inside the houses to make it COVID friendly. Oh, not necessarily. I suppose the plexiglass could have been there from when they were potentially looking at opening it anyway, couldn't they?
True.
Maybe, yeah.
Because this has already been going on since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I suppose if they even a month before they announced they were closing it, I suppose they still could have had plexiglass in place thinking that they were still going to have to go ahead with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if it was last minute, that stuff is, I haven't seen the ones they use in these houses, but, in all the stores and restaurants, or not restaurants, but I guess stores around my neighborhood, they installed all those things like overnight. So
yeah, true.
Did here as well.
Yeah. I do worry about, I know we can go back over it again, that if these houses end up being part of the event next year, that not so much for me, but just in general, it just kind of diminishes it a little bit. And still with it, it's not going to be the 30th year, but it's still going to be Halloween Horror Nights 30. And to have at least 2 houses that have already been seen is a bit weird.
Yeah. I guess the crux here is we can say all this, right? Like I said, oh, that would be cheap and blah, 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 blah. But we all know at the end of the day, the hardcore fans and even probably not even hardcore fans, still going to go out there, still going to pay the money to go see it next year,
Yeah, because it's more than just the houses, isn't it, I suppose? Yeah, when you throw in the shows and everything. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I know I'm probably just being whingy because I'm not going to get to see him this year, so it's not going to affect it for me at all, really. But it just depends how many others that they open up kind of concerns me a little bit.
For sure. Yeah, because, the whole big thing about going to a Horror Nights event, right? When we're doing our episodes, we're doing build-ups, we're learning about houses and all that, and then going there and having all this like new, fresh experience, right? You're going to the same park you've been to for years, tons of times, but it's completely new to you right now because scare zones are new, houses are new, everything is new during that event. So going there and then kind of seeing some revisited stuff already that is the same thing from last year, it takes a little bit away from that experience.
Yeah, you do our announcement shows. So they've just announced The Bride of Frankenstein lives. Chris, how was it? No, it was all right last year. Don't know what it'd be like this year, though.
Yeah.
It'd just be bizarre.
Yeah, they modified it this year. How? They took off the plexiglass. Oh, okay, cool.
I'm sure they will be different, even if they do roll them out next year. You know, maybe they'll plus them a little bit.
Well, don't forget, it's only a small fraction of the audience is actually going to see it this year. So if they're proud of it, they're going to want to put it back out again next year for everybody to see.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, that I think about is, you know, what we know is at the end of a season, aren't these houses pretty beat up?
I would assume so.
Yeah. So, like, either they have to redo a bunch of stuff in there to make it good, or at least up to standard.
That's a good
for the
point.
next year.
Yeah.
If they do that, do we change things out? So I don't know. You know, they what I've read before is, you know, they build these to kind of last a season.
That's a really good point, actually.
Oh, you know what? These could be their least favorite houses, so let's put them out.
That could be, yeah.
Anyway, I guess we'll see. I think they will roll it out. It seems to have gone down a roaring success for the most part.
Yeah.
Everyone's glowing over it, so I'll just cry.
You do anyway.
Anyway, let's brighten it up a little bit. Tracy, let's get to some Producers Club birthdays.
Yes, indeedy. We have 5 for this episode. We have know him. Know him. Oh, on the
His name is familiar.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has, yeah. Yes, so on the 22nd of September, we have Darren Schmidt's birthday. The lovely Darren Schmidt.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Darren!
Happy birthday, Darren!
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yay. And the following day, the 23rd, is the equally lovely Chris Lepresto's birthday. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday.
And then we have Sherry Nash's birthday. She's lovely. And that is on the 26th of September. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Oh. Then we've got the very posh and lovely Claire Goodwin's birthday on the 28th. Happy birthday, Claire!
Happy birthday, Claire.
Feliz cumpleaños and buy me a Coke.
And finally, on the 2nd of October, not September.
Oh no, as the year's flying by.
I know. We have the very delightfully lovely Kelsey Wade's birthday. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Kelsey.
Happy birthday.
I hope you all have amazing birthdays and get lots of cake and presents. And no COVID.
No, that's definitely not what anyone wants. Okay,
just
just cake, yes.
Yes.
So after those birthdays, we will take a short break and we will be back with more Universal Orlando talk.
Have you taken a stroll down Diagon Alley and visited Gringotts Bank? Taken a ride through New York with Jimmy Fallon? Visited the Truffler Trees and Zeus Landing or hung out with a real-life Transformer? No? Then what are you waiting for? At Universal Orlando Resort, there truly is an option for everyone. Or if you're leaning a little more towards pixie dust rather than wands and potions, Disney destinations around the globe await your arrival. No matter the adventure, our sponsors have you covered. Be sure to let the experts at Mouse & Muggle Travel Company take care of all your travel needs. Earning the distinction of being an earmarked agency specializing in Disney destinations, as well as becoming one of the first to be named a U Preferred agency with Universal Parks and Resorts Vacations. Mouse & Muggle Travel Company will ensure you receive top-rate customized service. Just visit mouseandmuggle.com to fill out a non-obligation quote request or send your request to info@mouseandmuggle.com. Their team can take care of you no matter where in the world you go. With a flick of their wand and a little bit of pixie dust, the process will be so seamless, some might even say it's simply magical.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, and it is time to hear some little things from Seth.
Hi, this is Seth Kabursky, co-author of the Unofficial Guides, and I am back with a spooky September edition of All the Little Things that are new around the Universal Orlando Resort. We have to start with the Resurrected Halloween celebrations at Universal Orlando, which are certainly more than just a little thing. As I'm sure you already know, 2 haunted houses, which were planned for Halloween Horror Nights 30, opened to daytime guests this past weekend. While it isn't yet officially confirmed, those houses are expected to be open on weekends for the rest of the month, and perhaps also weekdays in October. I got to check out both Revenge of the Tooth Fairy and Bride of Frankenstein Lives during the premiere pass holder previews on Friday afternoon, and I will say that both houses are among the best work that Halloween Horror Nights' talented team
What did we
has
just say
ever
again?
put together.
The worst ones.
The bad news is that due to social distancing, there is extremely limited capacity for those haunted houses. So if you want a chance to experience them, you're going to have to be at the parks before they open, and be sure you have the Universal app installed to make a virtual line reservation. On the first Saturday, the haunted houses reached capacity shortly after opening, and then the parks themselves were closed to new guests. So don't underestimate how popular these haunted houses are going to be. Here's a tip: if you're trying for a virtual line, you do not yet have to be inside the park in order to claim a spot in the virtual line. You just have to be on Universal property. In addition to the haunted houses, Universal also has Halloween food trucks, a free scarecrow stalk scavenger hunt where you collect stamps from shops around the park, and free trick-or-treat locations for the kids in Islands of Adventure. Also keep an eye out for autograph sessions with Halloween Horror Nights artists held at the Horror Nights Tribute Store, the most recent being on September 22nd. Due to the Halloween celebrations, park hours on the weekends have been extended. Keep an eye on Universal Orlando's online operating calendar for further updates. Okay, now that we've got Halloween Horror Light out of the way, let's exit Universal Studios Florida using the side entrance by Despicable Me, which has recently reopened, and head into Islands of Adventure. Early park admission has returned to Islands of Adventure only as of September 19th, and is expected to stay there at least through the end of October. For the first time, both Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure and the Incredible Hulk Coaster are included in early park admission. Keep in mind that even though early park admission at IOA will start at the same time as regular admission at Universal Studios Florida, you can't ride the Hogwarts Express between parks early enough in order to have an advantage on the crowd coming in from the front entrance. Heading around the park, Wimpy's Hamburger Stand, which was open daily, is now only available Saturdays and Sundays. The Incredible Hulk Coaster, as well as the Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket Coaster at the other park, are both now filling every row with guests instead of leaving an empty row in between guests. Parties are still given their own row, including single riders, and plexiglass has been installed in the boarding area in order to separate guests from the row next to them. Social distancing is still otherwise being enforced throughout the queue and parks, including mandatory masks. A similar change has also come to Reign of Kong Skull Island, where plexiglass dividers have been installed in the trucks themselves. This has allowed them to increase the ride's capacity, but unfortunately means that the 3D effect is somewhat spoiled by the reflections. In Islands of Adventure's Lost Continent, Glory the Hippo from Madagascar and Tigress from Kung Fu Panda have both been spotted doing socially distanced meet and greets with guests. And the bypass bridge that goes directly from Lost Continent to Jurassic Park reopened over the busy Labor Day weekend, allowing guests to get a good look at the new Velocicoaster roller coaster tracks, which curve directly over that bridge. Speaking of the still unannounced Velocicoaster, a car has been placed on that track and is being pulled through in order to make safety checks. And that vehicle is wrapped with an InGen logo, which provides the bridge thematically between Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. On the border between Jurassic Park and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, work is continuing on theming for the backside of the lockers, which will replace the existing locker system for Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. It looks like there's some rock work being added to the new exterior locker bank, and it may have the look of a dinosaur paddock when viewed from the Jurassic Park side.
Interesting.
And finally, for our friends in Great Britain, the Warner Brothers London studio tour featuring the magic of Harry Potter is now shipping official butterbeer in bottles directly to locations in the UK.
Oh,
These
are they?
cannot be shipped in America,
We shall have
so
some.
I am very jealous of our friends across the pond.
Not if it tastes like the
That'll
stuff
do
from
for
there.
this week. I'm Seth Kabursky, author of the Unofficial Guide to Universal Orlando, and I'll be back again soon with more little things that are new around the Universal Orlando Resort.
Tris, I think we owe it to our listeners to get some of that butterbeer shipped to our house. But if it tastes like the crap that we had when we were down there, I will not be impressed.
No,
How was that?
It was horrible. Chris, hey,
it was. Am I lying?
it was horrible. It tasted
Wow.
absolutely nothing like the stuff from the Wizarding World.
Put it this way. There were plenty of wet bins about.
Yeah. So in the area
Wow.
where you buy it, they have like trash cans and then wet, like one specifically for liquids. And it was bloody expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was not pleasant.
It's crazy.
So going back to talking about the haunted houses and then potentially opening for the rest of the year, early entry at Islands of Adventure are making Hagrid part of it. Are they trying to steer people away from going over to the Universal Studios Florida and giving them a reason to go to islands rather than get in line for a haunted house?
Probably.
I mean, he did say that you could get the
No, he said you
pass from anywhere, right?
Oh, yes, true.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe just to kind of disperse crowds a little bit, but you're still going to have that influx of people that got their passes when they're in their hotel room waking up and
Or
then heading out over there.
Or you go to Hagrid's and while you're waiting for that, get your virtual line for the houses
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then get the Hogwarts Express. Actually, that could be a pretty cool day, actually. Get early entry at Islands.
Yeah.
Get that. Get your virtual line for the houses while you're stood in there. Get your breakfast. Get the Hogwarts Express across and then jump into there. That's a pretty decent morning, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems it. Oh, what you side at now?
He's just thinking about everything all over again.
We're only like
Yeah.
a week and a half away or something from this time last year being like the weekend in a week or so.
Can't believe how fast that time's gone.
And then we would have been there now in 5 weeks' time had COVID not killed everything.
Yeah. Well, just what it is. Can't change it.
They're obviously not hurting that much financially because they're going ahead with the roller coaster and theming the...
What roller coaster?
I don't know.
Churro coaster.
Chris, I don't think you were on when we talked about it last time. What are your feelings on that coaster? I think it was me, you and Michelle. We talked about it, didn't we? Yeah, you weren't here. Your thoughts on that coaster?
I personally think it looks pretty awesome. I sent you pictures
Yes.
from the backside of the coaster where like the tracks go along that restaurant, which I always forget its name.
3 broomsticks.
Yes, 3 broomsticks. Dangerously close, but kind of adds to that coolness factor for me. But yeah, the top hat and kind of the track work that I've seen laid out already looks awesome. I'm glad it's leaning more towards thrill than like just a general family thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited, looking forward to it. Cannot wait for an official announcement of them calling it the Velocicoaster just to hear your voice and hear you complain about it. But yeah.
So when did you get to take these pictures to send to me, Chris? When was that? When did that happen?
That was...
He doesn't even know. Wasn't it last weekend? Or 2 weekends ago? It was Labor Day weekend.
No. Labor Day, yeah.
How was
That's
it,
when I
Chris?
was there.
Why did you pick the worst weekend in the history of ever to go there?
Okay, so let me preface this with, we knew it was going to be busy. We didn't know to what level of busyness, but we assumed, hey, it's going to be busy, right? And we also got some amazing rates for Cabana Bay
Okay.
with our pass holder. So that was like kind of like the deciding factor there.
What are we
Like, I
talking
think,
amazing rates?
It was 89 for one of the nights and
Wow.
79 for the other two.
Wow.
So
Excellent.
Yeah, that is
it
cheap.
was dumb cheap.
Yes.
Okay, That's the term I want to use for that. It was
Rude
dumb
not
cheap,
to.
where it's like, even if we don't go to the parks, so like we love Cabana Bay, and I know Cabana Bay is more of like the family hotel, even though like I don't have kids or anything. I just love the vibe there. I love the retroness.
We know.
It's one of my favorites.
We
and
know.
the pool's awesome. I love being in the water. I love the sun. So I'm like, you know what? Even if we don't go to the parks, let's just stay at the hotel and enjoy it. And they've, capacity's cut a lot at the hotels because we had stayed at the Surfside Inn, and even when it was maxed out, it still felt pretty empty.
Okay. So
we're like, yeah, we'll go. So we did that. And it was pretty bad at the parks. What was it? Friday, we didn't go to the parks. Saturday, we were debating whether to stay at the pool for a little bit and try to go to the parks later or go in the afternoon. We ended up going in the afternoon. And it was, we rode one ride. We rode Popeye's Bilge Rat.
That's worth it, though.
Which is one of my favorite rides to ride during the summertime, right? And that was like I go, if we ride only one ride this trip, it has to be this one because I don't ride it any other time.
Yeah.
And that's where I got the, some other cool shots of the Velocicoaster from the backside.
Jeff Wright is virtually high-fiving you at this point, by the way, Chris. You do know that, don't you?
Yeah. So, we did that, and we decided to leave. I'm not going to lie to you. It was pretty packed, and I do say that like Universal does a great job at keeping people safe and all that. I'll have to disagree to the level of amount of people they put in the parks.
Yes.
At that time, they were closing, like they were at stage 2 of, capacity. And even then it was packed. Like it felt like a normal day. It did not feel like anything was at capacity. So we kind of made the executive decision just to head back to the hotel. We're like, hey, we'll go back and just hang out at the pool. And that's what we did.
Yeah, because that's why you missed the show 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? Because we ended up having Michelle on because we were talking about it, and it was funny that they were advising people that it was at capacity that much that if you wanted to go from one park to the other, they were advising people to get the Hogwarts Express because if you left and went through City Walk, you weren't guaranteed getting into the other park.
Yeah, and the other crazy thing, which was like odd to us, and this is how packed it was. There's people, when you're coming in through City Walk, and it splits left and right. So you go left to Islands, right to Universal. Well, there's people there with signs saying, if you want to go to Universal, go left. If you want to go to Islands, go right.
What?
And they continually said over and over, we understand. It doesn't make sense. Just that's the way you need to go.
That's weird.
And so what happens is if you can picture this, right? If I want to go to Islands of Adventure, it would be on my left. But they're making me go right because they wrapped a queue around the lake to get into the parks.
Okay, wow.
Now, thankfully, we didn't have to wait in any queue. You just had to go through the railings that they set up.
Right.
But I can only guess that there was a queue at some point to get in, which was insane. So yeah, we were able to get in, but we left shortly after. And then the next day, the hotel itself, just so people know, it wasn't that bad. Like there was people there, but it's at capacity.
Yeah.
So, I think the only crazy thing was like the lazy river.
Yes, I did see your picture.
I put a picture up in the Producers Club. Yeah. But if you went later on in the afternoon, like closer to 5 or 6, there was nobody there. So it was nice. On Sunday, we opted to just hang out again at the resort, which we did. We didn't go to the parks. We did, like me and Alexa just kind of said, hey, let's go just check out Volcano Bay, right? Because we're staying in Cabana Bay. It's a 5-10 minute walk. If it's at capacity, we come back. If it's not, let's go check it out and see how it is. Well, it wasn't at capacity. I mean, it was on the outside, but as long as you stay in the parks or on the resorts, you'll get in. That's what they told us.
Yeah.
We got in there, and that was definitely a COVID crock pot. It was bad. So if I thought the parks were bad, that place was slammed.
Really?
And, slammed. And again, I've been to Volcano many times, and we've been through on Labor Day weekend as well, because we normally go up to the parks on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
It was slammed with people, and the major difference here is nobody's wearing a mask.
Yes.
Nobody. Okay. And they even tell you, like, we suggest that you wear a mask in between walking around, but it's not mandatory. Everybody heard, please don't wear a mask at all. So we looked like the only two idiots that were wearing a mask while walking around. I had one of those gaiters, so they're kind of water not resistant, but they can get wet. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But we walked around. We were not feeling the most comfortable there. We rode one ride. I think we rode one or two rides. I'm not sure. Maybe one. That was, again, we were more anxious than anything else the entire time being there. We weren't able to really enjoy ourselves like we were in the parks when we normally go.
Right.
So after that, I said, "Screw it. Well, let's just go in the lazy river," because we were going to try to ride Krakatoa. That was a 180-minute wait. I'm like, absolutely not. And we went to go buzz in, but then it stopped letting people buzz. So there's people hanging around, like in groups, hanging around the Krakatoa kiosk to get the thing. So when it reaches a certain point, it won't even let you get it. It says at capacity. And then every little bit of time, it would release a couple and people just run there. Yeah. And I'm telling you, no mask, just groups of people running over there. I was like, nope, not doing this, not even dealing with this. Let's just go to Lazy River. We went to the Lazy River, and then we were told, the other thing, like when we rode on the slide, they're like, we had our mask on the whole time in line and everything. And when we got on the raft, when they're about to send us down, they're like, you got to take that off. I'm like,
yeah,
really?
They're protecting themselves at that
I get
point.
it. No, I get it. I don't want to waterboard myself, but I would risk getting waterboarded as opposed to the alternative.
Yeah.
So they make you take it off there. I'm like, okay, fine. We're it's open, outdoor, windy. Feel a little bit better about that. But we went to go do the Lazy River, and again, just swarms of people. Like, I know you've never done the Lazy River there, but like a typical Lazy River, everybody wants a raft to sit on, and they're usually taken up. So you'll just have groups of people waiting at the edge for people getting off theirs to grab the float and then go in. So many people there. And again, me and Alexa were both a little bit on edge.
Yeah.
And then the lady there at the lifeguard at the Lazy River also told us, hey, you got to take those off. You can't come in here with the mask on.
Right.
And at that point, we made another executive decision and just left and headed back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And we kind of said, as much, me, as much as I love Volcano Bay and all things water related and sun related and tiki and all that fun stuff, we basically said this is the last time we'll be at Volcano Bay until, things are over. With everything. Not the last time at Volcano Bay, because I love you and I will go back to you 1,000 times. But it's for us that the whole risk tolerance it's way too high for that over there for us.
It's an interesting question. I was talking to one of the girls at work today. Are the Disney water parks open?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because she thought they were all closed, and I was like, no, Volcano Bay has been open, like right from everything opening. And I don't know whether Aquatica's open or whether Typhoon Laguna Blizzard Beach. Anyway, Chris, let's put a positive spin on it. You did get to try something finally.
I did. Yeah. So good segue there, because then Monday rolled around, and Monday was a graveyard at the parks.
Which is weird.
Which is super weird. I mean, it's a long weekend. You would think there's still people there because they have Monday off. But we went to the parks on Monday and rode a few rides. Everything was 30 minutes or less, which was nice. And I got extremely lucky and walked up to the crepe stand and was able to grab a crepe without a wait.
Well, let's play your little review first, Chris, because this is funny. Yes. It made me laugh.
Hey, UUOP, it's Chris here. I got Alexa alongside. Say hi.
Hey.
I have been tasked with the very difficult job of eating a bunch of crepes. So we just ordered a few right now. We got the Oreo, the strawberry Nutella, the brisket, and the goat cheese and chicken. So about to dive into that. I will let you know how it is. All right. Well, we just finished devouring these crepes or crepes.
I love live
Depends
reports.
what part of the world you're from, right? If you're cultured, it's crepe. If you're not, it's crepe, right? All right. So they were, first of all, amazing. I think my favorite was the Munster. Is it Munster or brisket with
the smoked brisket?
Smoked brisket, yeah. That one. I mean, everybody's saying that one's awesome. That one was awesome. Flavor was great. It was fresh, crispy, all that fun jazz, and that golden barbecue ranch was also really good.
Yeah.
The chicken and goat cheese
actually was my favorite. That pesto with the goat cheese and the grilled chicken was a really good good mix.
It tasted like Olive Garden in my mouth.
Oh,
I'm just
that's
kidding.
terrible.
Olive Garden sucks. No, that one's really good. And going over to desserts. So I cheated. I didn't eat the strawberry hazelnut because I don't like Nutella.
Oh, but it was so delicious.
Yeah.
It was honestly just,
Yeah.
so good.
Cookies and cream was great. They have like these like scoops of chocolate ganache they put in there, cookie crumbles. I personally love that. It was a nice kind of light. I know you didn't like it that
I'm
much.
not a big chocolate fan.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Which worked perfectly for us.
Yeah, worked perfect. So they have something for everybody there.
You know,
but
everybody really tried the lemon blueberry one, so we wanted to go a little bit outside of the box.
That's the one I want
Yeah.
to try.
no, I liked it. It was good. And like the other big thing I think we noticed was like with the savory ones, the crepe breading was like crispier. I don't know if that's on purpose.
Yeah, I would think so.
So it was like crispier, like hot, and then with the savory, I mean, not the savory, the sweet ones, it's kind of like a softer,
It's like a
doughier.
doughy, which I didn't personally like. I like the savory better, just because I like that crispiness.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, all in all, it's, I think for the price of what you're getting, for what you normally pay for
Oh,
things in
yeah.
the park, it's definitely worth it. The only other big thing is like, you got to keep an eye on the line. So we got super lucky. There was one person ahead of us in line, and everything's made fresh to order. So even with one person in line, we still waited about 15, 20 minutes from like ordering to getting our food. So if you see a giant line, expect to wait a good amount of time.
like 30, 45 minutes maybe.
Probably, yeah, but definitely worth it. Like I said, the cost, I think they were like $8 for the savory and $7 for the sweets. So that alone is a great value, I think, for the park. So yeah, give it a try if you have not. And
Just to let you guys know, if you didn't, there is a vegetarian option as well, which I thought was really great because there's not a lot of vegetarian options in the park.
Oh, yeah.
So just to keep that in mind as well.
that's right, veggie section
Yeah.
might make a comeback. We'll see. All right, yeah. So that's gonna be it, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Let's go on then, Chris. Wrap up a little bit.
That's a really good review, Chris. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean that's everything. They were really good. Get them. The only thing I do wish is that they either made the stand bigger or had more kind of throughput on there because it takes a while.
It kind of makes me feel like Green Eggs and Ham when that first opened with the tots and everyone complained. Like I know Alexa and I spoke about it. It feels very similar that they don't have enough people or enough. They don't have enough workspace to be able to produce a mass amount quickly, which it seems to be the issue over at, like you say, over at Green Eggs and Ham when that opened.
And it's not something you can hurry with the cooking of it.
This is even, think of that, and this is even like on a smaller scale here.
Right.
It was the lady that works at the cash register and a guy cooking the crepes.
Oh,
that's it.
Wow.
One person, and she would, the way it was, at least now during COVID times, right? Things will change after, I'm guessing. But like you go there, and there's the window there and the window to pick up. And there's a blue spot there in front of the window to pick up, blue spot in front of the ordering window. You order, and she tells you, okay, wait here. When that party gets their food, then you move over to that blue spot and they move. And then they'll take somebody over to the ordering window. So they're taking orders very slowly, and they're also like pumping it out slowly because it's fresh. They're literally making everything fresh, which is nice.
Yes.
I don't want to take that away. So Universal, awesome job at doing that. It's just really small because you mentioned this before, how this is an awesome little, food spot right here that you can watch cinematic insert celebration or spectacular.
Celebration.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that one today.
It's the one that doesn't make sense because the one was the 100 years and that should have been, for me, celebration, but it wasn't. It was spectacular, so it doesn't make sense.
So this thing, like you said, is like the perfect kind of like, I could imagine eating that Oreo one over and over again, just watching the show out there. But in, realistically, how many people go out there, which is a lot, it would not take all those people, not even half of those people to be able to get crepes. So bummer on that end. Maybe they'll open up something else in that area for the future, or maybe they'll have a couple more people inside there, but it is a very tight space. So I don't know how many more they can fit.
It does seem to be incredibly popular.
Extremely. Like we got lucky. As soon as I started ordering, I'm telling you, there was like another 4 couples that lined up in line. And that would have been a half hour to an hour wait. No lie.
I really want to try them. That's why you order all of them at once. If you're staying in line, get them all.
Yeah.
So the dessert ones are cold.
No, because
it was interesting. Like, so the breading is like pre-done already. Like they made it earlier.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Yeah, and they also don't. At least this is my guess, is that they don't make it as crispy as the savory ones, the hot ones.
It might be because they do dry out, and the crispier they are, the faster they'll dry out and be unusable.
Okay.
Could be. Yeah.
I know from making pancakes.
Right, yeah.
You know.
For me, it worked. Alexa didn't like it like that. But that Oreo one was so good. Yeah, I want it again.
It's the lemon blueberry one I want to try.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll eat that too.
There's so much new stuff when we get over there next year already. We've been on COVID lockdown. Like Florida's been on, nothing's been the same since like the middle of March, and yet all this new stuff's cropped up at the parks already.
Crept up.
Ha-ha!
Ooh, yes.
Bum, tsh. And on that note, that will wrap it up for another Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. I feel like we have to cut, but we've got an interview coming up we need to get on. So thank you everyone for joining us. Chris, thanks for going and taking one for the team for that weekend. But, you know, it was the thing was getting you there for those crepes.
Yeah.
We needed that review. So, of course, we will wrap up the show with a Universal Is. And this one comes from Carrie Maguire Dishman. And, of course, if you want to be involved, all you've got to do is send us what you think Universal is in 3 words or less to podcast@uuopodcast.com. And we will wrap them up. We will wrap the show up with them. And Carrie says, Universal is my happy place. See you next week, guys.
Guess that wraps things up for another Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. You guys did all right. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, keyword UUO Podcast. Listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere podcasts are found. You can find our blog at uuopodcast.com. Send us your spews, which Lou gets your poo recordings, questions, or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Check out our friends, the Theme Park Duo, and our awesome sponsors, Mouse and Muggle Travel Company. So, until next time, don't give up your day job. Say cheese. See you later.